Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine and the Topoco Lodge. Madisonville Marine, open for business. You can get down there. They've always got great deals, and they've got the biggest selection of boats anywhere in East Tennessee. And if you're still looking to do the social distancing thing, there's no better way to do that than on a boat. Get out in the middle of a lake. Madisonville Marine, Highway 411 North in Madisonville, and the Topoco Lodge, they're still a couple of weeks away from reopening. Now, they are about 2 feet over the North Carolina line in Robbinsville, in that area. And you can find out what's going on with the state of North Carolina's orders. It looks like mid-May for the hotel, possibly opening on weekends first, and then the Topoco Tavern eventually. Topoco.com is where you can learn more. You can also follow them on various social media platforms. They are everywhere, and you can support them right now. This is a historic spot here in our area. You can support them by getting gift cards. Those are available. Check out Topoco.com to learn more. Okay. I opened this segment by saying thanks to our friend Vince Ferrara with the Sports Animal, because I'm going to steal a lot of his work. Just wanted to have a little bit of fun with the NFL draft. Just look at some numbers, who's taking who, which teams have the most balls, etc. So let me go ahead and put some of this up there. And like I say, a lot of this is heavy lifting was done by Vince. And you can find it on his blog at 991thesportsanimal.com. 46 current Vols in the NFL, or 46 Vols currently in the NFL would be the correct way to say that. 20 were drafted, 26 were undrafted free agents. Now, you take out 3 of those guys who didn't finish at Tennessee. Jalen Hurd, Nathan Peterman, Lee Smith never played it down at Tennessee, went through Marshall. But you down to 17, so you got 32 NFL teams, only 17 former Vols in there, which, you know, you compare that to where this program was 2 decades ago, and half the league was filled with Tennessee players. The other interesting thing, you look at the draftees and which coach signed them at Tennessee. So Jeremy Pruitt's only been there 2 years, obviously none of his guys yet, but Butch Jones, 12 draftees, Lane Kiffin, none, Derek Dooley, 6, and there's still 2 from the Philip Fulmer area. Now, one of those is Lee Smith, the other one Jason Witten, but again, I think the fact that you're still seeing Fulmer on the list, and you've had 15 coaches here and only 2 others pop up there, I think that tells us a little bit about where this program is and where it's gone over the last 20 years.
Yeah, there's the recruiting aspect where you can see, man, it just didn't work out with a number of guys. There's a correlation, yeah. Right? But the number of players, if you look at the first and second round draft picks as well, it's just nowhere near where it was. Like you had Darrell Taylor that just went in the second round. Only the second round pick signed by a coach since Philip Fulmer to be a second rounder. They've had 3 first rounders. That's it.
That's absolutely amazing. But I mean, that's one thing. You talk about Butch Jones and the recruiting he did, and it was actually better, you know, in terms of finishing classes than Jeremy Pruitt's so far. But it looks like Jeremy Pruitt's going to do a better job of actually doing something with the talent when it arrives on campus.
Yeah, I mean, development, I think, I guess the lack of development, I think, you know, when you look at history, I think that's how the Butch Jones era is going to be remembered in a lot of ways because of how well he did recruit, and the results just weren't there. Jeremy Pruitt, early returns on development look pretty strong. I mean, you look at, you know, Nigel Warrior, I think, is, you know, beyond talking about the NFL stuff. I mean, he was a totally different player this year. Darrell Taylor, you know, some sort of growing up and going into a bigger role, but he was really disruptive for 2 years. And I think, too, you know, when you've got some of these guys that they brought in and seeing how they developed, the Henry To'oTo'os, the Wanya Morrises, the Eric Grays, the Darnell Wrights, the special guys that you brought in, you know, I think that's where we'll see how this development really stacks up, because those are guys that Pruitt and his staff identified, got here, and had for the duration of their careers. And if those guys leave as, like, first-round picks, which I wouldn't bet against that, that's a pretty strong endorsement for this program.
A lot of undrafted players on that list. And is that an indication of a lack of benefit of the doubt? I mean, think back last year. You had Shai Tuttle and Kyle Phillips, both productive rookies this past year, but they were undrafted last year playing for Jeremy Pruitt. I mean,
they also had their injuries that hurt both of those. But still, I'm not trying to undercut your point.
Sure,
those 2 specifically.
That probably did. But that also goes back. I mean, it may not be different than any other school. Ramon Foster just retired after an incredible career with the Steelers. He was undrafted. Think about Arian Foster. Emmanuel Mosley starting for the 49ers in the Super Bowl. He was undrafted and had the legit speed. I talked to a 49ers guy a couple weeks ago, and he said, yeah, we don't know why he went undrafted, but the 49ers are thankful that he did.
Let's talk, if you're a fan out there but you don't have an NFL team, We were talking before the show, and I said we're going to show people. I'm going to show people which teams like getting UT guys, and Josh rightly said, and who hates the Vols. So yes, let's show that. Let's take a look in terms of the current rosters, drafted and undrafted. Okay, so we're counting it all. The Saints have 4 former Vols on their roster. Right, that's Kamara, Tuttle, Jumper. Colton Jumper still in the league. That's a great story
Colton
because
Jumper,
you know, as a
There's
former
another
walk
one,
on, a lot of on this show, we wanted the guys who were a little bit more talented to jump ahead of him, the walk on. He's still in the league. Good for him. And of course, Callaway joining him this year. Philadelphia, the LA Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks have 3 former Vols each as of today. Drafted this century, all right. Since 2000, Kansas City has taken 7 Vols. Pittsburgh has taken 5. Tampa Bay has taken 5. Chicago hasn't drafted a Vol in 20 years.
There's an answer for you.
It's longer than that. Can you name the last Vol drafted by the Chicago Bears? I know the answer because, of course, you can't. Can you Josh, can you?
No, I'll let you go.
Okay. You knew you're just going to let me say it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Benevolent.
Jeremy Lincoln in 1992 was the last time. 92. So almost 30 years since the Bears drafted a Vol. So if you're looking for a team, don't pick the Bears. And then all-time drafts, Chuck Cavaleris is somewhere smiling. Dallas Cowboys have taken 18 Vols all time, which, considering they just came in this, 1960, I guess? That's pretty remarkable. I mean, they came in about the same time as the AFL starting, so that's a franchise that has not been around as long as the Detroit Lions, who were second on the list with 17, Washington Redskins with 15, Miami AFL team, so they haven't been around long, 15. Now, the Houston Texans have only been around for 20 years themselves, but only one former Vol that they have drafted. Josh, can you name who that was early in their existence.
Is that the Raiders?
Houston, I'm talking
Oh, I'm sorry, Houston.
Houston
No,
Texans. They've only taken 1 Vol in the draft in their existence. Yeah,
Help me out.
Yeah, help me out. You're not going to say, oh, yeah, Fred Weary, of course. Fred Weary in 2002.
No, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
With the Texans.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, with the Texans.
Yeah. So no Oilers.
I roll them in with the Titans.
Okay.
I rolled them in with the Titans. All right, very good. I've got an entire list somewhere, but don't email me about it. You can do your own research. It took me hours just wasting time to do that. That's the kind of geekery I thought was interesting. So, all right, when we come back, of those current Vols in the NFL, the ones who were drafted, guys who finished here, 17 of them, what were their recruiting rankings coming into Tennessee? Does that tell us anything? Well, look, come on back.